If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome to this live webinar on Workday integration. My name is Ricky, and I would be your trainer on the integration side of things for Workday. So today we are doing this live webinar, giving you a little backdrop and idea of what we are going to offer in this Workday integration training. So I'll start with telling something about myself, and we'll go from there. Okay, so as I said, my name is Ricky. I have over 19 years of experience in the integration space, and I come from different backgrounds, and I've seen different products. Most of the integration I've done is with the SaaS-based products. I'm currently working with an iPaaS vendor, and so I'll tell about iPaaS and SaaS and all those things if you're not aware of it. But again, so I've been working in the integration space for almost 13 years now, but past 3 years I've been actively involved in the Workday integration space. And so I work with the Workday integration. When I say that, so there are different ways that you integrate with Workday, and we will talk about those. So there are ways where you use Workday's integration platform to build integrations, and the other ways are you use other iPaaS vendors to do these integrations. So that's something about myself. Again, I'm based out in the US. I'm in the East Coast, and so that's how our timings are going to be like. So that's about myself. So the agenda for today's discussion is we will talk about the modules that we will be covering in this Workday integration training provided by Zarentech. We will talk about our course. I'll give you a general information and give you introduction to the Workday integration, and we will open up for questions and answers. Okay. So what are the modules that we are going to be covered by Zarentech in Workday integration are? We will be doing the introduction to Workday integration. So again, there is a little something that you need to know. So it is always preferred that you have some idea about Workday. Okay, you do not need, if you're completely new to the Workday environment, straight away jumping into Workday integration might be a little harder than the other person who already has some experience about Workday. So even if they come from Workday Financials, Workday HCM, or any other module, they have seen Workday, they know how Workday works. So again, to be able to perform integration successfully, you need to understand how things work in Workday, right? What is reporting like? What are the data sources? What are, if you are coming from HCM and you're integrating HCM data, you need to understand how is data even set up in Workday, right? So if you do not have a Workday background, it might be a little harder for you than a person who has some Workday background. Okay, so we will talk about report writer. Report writer is something that allows you to write reports in Workday. So we all know that the reports are very important part of any software system, pick it Salesforce or Workday for now. So again, we will talk about creating different kind of reports. We will exposing the simple reports, advanced reports, composite reports, matrix reports, all kind of reporting we will be covering. We will talk about calculated fields. So there's a concept of calculated fields in Workday, and the idea is that you have fields that you create, but those are not custom fields. Those are calculated fields. They resolve into some data set. So they are taking data from some permanent fields, not the calculated ones. Well, you can be getting data from a permanent field, doing some manipulation on it. It could be concatenation, it could be some mathematical function, or doing some logical operation, and then getting data, and then using those kind of fields into your reports. Very, very important, and they are used in the industry all the time when you're creating custom reports. So when we're talking about report, forgot to mention, we will be talking about simple report, advanced report. In advanced report, there's a concept of using reports as a web service. Very, very important. 90% of the times when you're building integrations, you are using report as a service, or also called as RAS, R-A-A-S. So we will talk about report as a service. When I say we will be talking about, it's not only talking. There's a lot of lab. There's a lot of practical sessions. Everything that we talk about, whether it's introduction or report writer or calculated fields or everything, there are a bunch of labs. So there's a plenty of hands-on for you to do when we go through everything that is mentioned here. The next thing is going to be Core Connector. So Core Connector is a technology that Workday has built, and they also called it as Cloud Connect. So what they have done is there are pre-packaged integrations that is built and maintained by Workday that you can use. And so there are packages, and then there are connectors. So what we're going to cover is we're going to cover Core Connector. So there are core connectors for HCM, for Cloud Connect, and for benefits, and for all kind of things. So there is this core connector for HCM is called core connector worker. That is the core connector that we will be exposing you to in this training. Once we introduce Core Connector, there's a lot of information about Core Connect that we will go over. How do you configure a Core Connector? What are business process? How do you run it? How do you configure the Core Connector? And then comes the part where we talk about document transformations. So document transformation is something when you have the data that you get from executing your core connector, you got the data out of Workday. Now, how do you transform it before you send it to the other system, right? How do you transform it so that the other system gets it? Probably you are sending the data, you have a first name, last name. On the target system, it only needs a name. So you need to do some kind of concatenation. Probably you are sending data as an XML. The target system needs is as a CSV. So how do you do that? So all those kind of things are done through document transformations. So that's what we will cover in the fifth session, not this session, but the fifth topic. Then we get to simple integrations, where we will be building simple integrations. So we will be picking data, we will be utilizing everything that we have done so far, from starting with the report writer to calculated fields to core connectors to document transformations, and then combine everything and build an integration when you will be sending data out of Workday and then using a core connector and then writing onto an FTP server and all that stuff. And then there is some integration course supplemental, where we will be talking about the integration system user. How do you do integrations using web services? So that's the part where we talk about, or where we show you how do you do integrations when you're not using core connector. So core connector is something which is native to Workday. So what you do is you configure the core connector in Workday to run an integration. You monitor this thing in Workday. If you are using some other tool, probably you are using another iPaaS vendor, right? Probably you're using MuleSoft, you're using Boomi, you're using Workato, you're using anything else, right? You could be using anything. Now, if you are using any of those products, how do you integrate to Workday? Now, there are a couple of ways you do that. You can create an EIB and then call those things, or you can use the web services and the REST API. So that is what we will discuss when we get to the Unit 7, which is Integration Core Supplemental. So this is a bird's eye view of everything that we will cover. Okay, so course objectives. So like I mentioned, the course objectives. So after completion of this course, the trainee will attain, you will master the core concepts of Workday Core Integration Suite. Okay, you will learn the terminologies, the business processes and functionalities involved in the Workday Suite. Now, people who are coming from a background of probably HCM, Workday HCM, or Workday Financials, or Workday Benefits, you might see a little overlap of what you have done in different classes. Probably in your HCM class or your financials class, you will see a little overlap. And this is for the benefit of the people who have not gone through a Workday HCM or a Workday Financial or a Workday Benefit, so that they understand the core concept of how things work in Workday. Okay, so you might see a little overlap if you have attended the other trainings as well. Okay, you will gain the ability to handle the Workday reports, because there are standard reports in Workday, but we also teach you how do you create custom reports and then expose your report as web services. And you will also attain knowledge about cloud connectors, like the one I was mentioning. You will create and configure EIB. EIB is a technology which is Enterprise Interface Builder. So you build custom integrations and configure the EIBs. Using EIBs, you can send data out of Workday as well as bring data into Workday to upload the data. And also, you will attain potential to implement Workday best practices. So I think I forgot to mention. So I work very closely with a lot of Workday customers and Workday partners. And again, because I'm always on these projects and I have a very deep insight of what's going on in the Workday world, um, I am very much aware of what are the Workday best practices you have to implement when you are building these integrations. These could be unidirectional integrations going only one way, or when you are implementing bidirectional integrations, what is that you need to be aware of, or all the gotchas that you can get into. Okay. So prerequisites. So I think I did mention this at the very start of this discussion is basic knowledge in Workday HCM is recommended. Again, this is not a hard and fast rule that you have to know. But again, if you have some knowledge, it will come as an additional benefit. If you do not have a knowledge, again, like I said, you will find some overlap. If you are coming from a Workday HCM class or a financial class, you will see there's some of the topics I will repeat that I cover in HCM, but might go a little faster than I go in at the HCM. Okay, so for Workday HCM training, refer to Zerentech's Workday HCM training offering. So again, if you're interested in learning the code HCM first before you getting into integration, you're more than welcome to check Zerentech's Workday HCM training offering. Who should take up this course? And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a lot of questions on this that have come from this background. Should I go for this course or not? So Workday integration currently is one of the most sought for skills in the market today. As Workday has several modules that are to be connected to external applications like ADP, Fidelity, Okta, etc. So Workday, you all know, then you are in this webinar looking for into this training. It's a very hot technology right now. It is what Salesforce was probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. So that is what Workday is. It's super, super hot. So everybody wants to get into this space early. Because if you're a little late in the game, like if you try to get into Salesforce right now, there are hundreds and thousands of Salesforce administrators, Salesforce developers already out there. So if you're trying to get into Salesforce now, not going to cut it. But similarly, Workday is super hot right now. And why it is super hot right now is because Workday has opened up its gates to integration. So when Workday started, they actually acquired a company. And from there, they opened up the integration platform. So this Cloud Connect was not actually their own baby. They acquired a company, and that company had this whole platform of integration platform, and they brought that platform in and they made it their own. So once they decided to make it their own, they opened up the community, and that community of integration actually is helping them grow crazy. So there are, let's say, for example, payroll. A lot of companies use ADP for payroll, and for Workday, like probably they don't want to use Workday for payroll, but still they want to have all this insight into Workday. What do they do? So Workday says, okay, do nothing. We are going to give you a package integration where you could see that how we connect Workday with the ADP. So you bring this package in and just configure it, and you're good to go. Okay, so Workday integration. So because of features like these, it's a very, very hot technology. Okay, so any person who has integration experience, and I say integration experience because I understand people come from Java background, C++ background, and .NET and whatnot. Again, that's all great. That's programming knowledge. That's pretty great. But an integration experience is if you have seen any other tool. Let's say you have seen Informatica or Boomi or any other tool, or you have done custom integrations. So because if you're an integration person, you understand that, okay, what are the challenges that you might see in an integration and how do you avoid it? So if you have that kind of knowledge, you know how XML works, how XSLT works, this might come a little handy for you. Again, if you're a software developer, obviously currently you are working with the data, which is all XML, XSLTs, and JSON. So you're already there. Integration architects, if you're an integration architect and you need another feather in your cap, where you have to say, okay, I know how to integrate with Workday as well. This is a great training for you. Okay, you already know how do you integrate with SAP, with Salesforce. For SAP, you can use SAP PI, and you can use any other iPaaS vendor, the ones like I mentioned, MuleSoft or Boomi or anything, right? Similarly, how do you integrate with Workday? Now, integrating with Workday is a little different than working with SAP PI, right? Because Workday offers you the web services, obviously, and you can use web services to connect to. But again, they offer you core connector, which is different from any other technology, like I mentioned. Okay, so if you're an integration architect, you want to have a handle on how your integration is going in an organization where you are, and they decided to build an integration around Workday, and you need to be not to be fooled by anybody. Just somebody telling you this thing is going to take 100 hours. However, you know it should not take more than 30 hours. So this is a great training for you. So what are the advantages of Workday integration training? So I think I've been saying that for past 15 minutes, but again, Workday is a leading provider of enterprise cloud applications for human resources and finance. It delivers human capital management, financial management, and analytics applications designed for the world's largest organizations. Amazon is one of their biggest customers, and so is Microsoft. Workday has made it possible to leverage out-of-the-box integrations for many third-party vendors using Cloud Connect technology. So Cloud Connect is like I was mentioning. Using Cloud Connect, you can use packages which are already pre-built integrations, which are end-to-end, or you can use the connectors like Cloud Connect for HCM. So you could use those. This makes it more of an exercise of mapping the data and making configurations as opposed to full-blown development effort. So the current buzzword in the industry is no code. People don't want to code. Everybody wants to configure. So all the advocates, they're all talking about no code advocacy. So they're all about, I want to minimize the coding. I want to maximize the configuration. And Workday is a great example of that. So Workday is making it possible to use these out-of-box integrations. So because of the fact they give you these pre-packaged integration, for example, between Workday and Okta, Workday and Kronos, Workday and ADP, Workday and Fidelity, you use these packages, just configure your endpoints, and you're good to go. So again, it becomes more of an exercise of mapping the data and configuration than full-blown development effort. If you were doing custom code, you would write the code to connect to Workday, to connect to the other system, maintaining the sessions, then getting the data. How do you get the data? How frequently you get the data? How much data are you getting? Do you need to take care of pagination? So there are all kinds of issues that you run into when you're building an integration from scratch. So they take care of this by giving you a pre-packaged product. Okay, so that's an advantage. According to Food Partners data, investment in human capital will increase as the IT hiring market becomes more competitive. HR technology is a big area for a lot of companies. Now companies are starting to realize how complex it is to manage people, their pay, their bonuses, and skills pay premiums, right? So because of the fact, now we are all in the IT industry, we all know how crazy it is to retain the talent, right? And how do you retain a good talent? You retain a good talent by understanding what this person has. Like if you own a team, right? You're a team manager. You have 15 people in your team. You need to make sure that you are abreast of what's going on. What is the skill set in your team? How diverse is the skill set in your team? How much are you paying in your team? How much each person is making? If some person in your team is making less than a person, more than a person, are they gonna leave? So you need to have an idea of what's going on in the overall picture, right? So that is why Workday, if you're looking at the Workday integration, it's a great tool to manage all that. So the training benefits are Zerentech offers training and certification options to aid trainees in enhancing their knowledge to next level. So I would like to make it very clear that Zerentech does not claim in any capacity that we offer Workday certification. We do not offer Workday certification. All we offer is we offer you a Workday training. We offer you the knowledge around Workday. We will offer you a completion of training completion certificate from Zerentech, but that's not equivalent to Workday certification. The only people who can give you the Workday certification is Workday or Workday partners. They can get you into a Workday training and nobody else can. So if anybody is claiming that they can get you Workday certification, it's a lie. Okay. We offer flexible learning solutions like instructor-led live training, instructor-led video training, and self-paced video training. We ensure that our experienced instructors will guide each training in upgrading the relevant skills and subject knowledge. If you decide to enroll, the enrolled students will receive study materials, assignments, assessment questions, mock interview questions, and case studies based on real-time scenarios. The enrolled students, they can access the training blog and recorded videos of each session. So every session that we go through, each session is recorded. So about Workday, so we've talked about it. So Workday is an open demand. Not an open demand, that's a typo. It's an on-demand cloud-based financial management and human capital management software vendor. It's an HCM vendor. It's an on-demand. That means it is not an on-premise system. It's a SaaS-based system. So a SaaS-based system is where a software is running as a service. So again, so it's not And on-premise, it's an on-demand, cloud-based financial management and HCM software vendor. It was founded in March 2005 and launched in November 2006. So since 2006 till 2011, they did not had an integration platform. And again, they acquired another company. I don't recall the name right now, but they acquired that company, and that's how they got this whole cloud connecting going on. David Duffield, he's the founder and former CEO of the ERP giant PeopleSoft. So again, he knew the gotchas of the PeopleSoft, and that's how he came up with this product, which is way improved in any capacity than PeopleSoft. Anil Bhusri, he's the current CEO and chairman of Workday. So what is Workday integration? So Workday provides single architecture, cloud-based enterprise applications and management suite that combine finance, HR, and analytics into a single system. As part of the platform, users can easily manage and customize data sets from any connected workforce sources. So what it means is getting the data and customizing the data from any connected workforce sources, like connecting to third-party applications. You want to get data from SAP, you want to get data from Okta for single sign-on, or from ADP for your payroll management, or to Fidelity, right? Workday integration is designed to balance high security standards, agile updates, powerful insights, and intuitive UI across devices. So anyone can use or customize dashboards to get real-time actionable insight. Enhanced security. So what is Workday integration offering? It offers you enhanced security because this thing runs in the cloud. And I remember the time in early 2000s, like 2005, 2006, and whole cloud thing was catching up. Salesforce was the big wave. Everybody wanted to talk like, is my data safe up there? Should I be putting up my data, which is such a secure information? Should I be putting it up out there? So right now, everybody, we all have Gmails. We save our passwords in our Gmail emails. We all have all our confidential information in Google Drives, right? So we all trust the cloud. So both finance and HR are particularly sensitive to security breaches and data loss. Workday integration assures the highest security while reaping the benefits of a cloud-based application. Okay, so because again, this data is very sensitive. It has financial information and HR information. For financial information, let's say you have your payroll running, so you provide your bank information to ADP, for the example, to when the payroll runs, you need to get your money in the bank. So if the data gets lost or gets stolen, it's a big problem. Same thing for the HCM part of it, for the HR. You have your personal information, you have your personal contacts information, your social security numbers, your passports and visa information in the system. So again, because of the fact Workday is handling it, they're handling it very, very securely, because it's a single security model, monitors processes, data and devices. Customize access and security easily with easy to use security controls. A continuous development model allows regular updates without downtime disruptions. So data and security updates are continually updated from a live data stream. Easy operations and analytic interfaces. So focused on simple interfaces. So the UI is really very, very simplistic. So it's not complicated at all. It's very easy to look at. So anybody who has seen Workday before, they know the UI is very simple. There's nothing, it's just a plain screen with a search box on the top, and everything else is configurable, what you want to bring up onto your dashboard. So focus on simple interfaces. Workday creates easy to read visual presentations of live data. You can have charts or bar graphs and pie graphs and have reports. Analytics are always fresh. A simple, clean presentation and user interface allows actionable data to inform business decisions without a data scientist to translate. And Workday dashboards integrate and present data across devices, ideally suited for mobile, flexible, and remote workforces. You can access the same reports onto your mobile phone if you need to. Scalable enterprise applications. Cloud-based applications adapt and grow with organizations of any size, providing a scalable solution without continual data and system migrations. As organizational needs and team grows, the easy to manage governance allows you to adjust dashboards and data sets to changing needs and industry trends. Workday integration provides a cost-effective solution that is easy to adopt without extensive training. So as you can see, Workday, you can connect it to all these systems that are mentioned. So let's say for benefits, you can go to Namely, Zenefits. For background check, you can go to HireRight or Sterling. Applicant tracking system, you can go to Taleo, very popular right now. For career management, Cornerstone Learning, Lattice. For payroll, Ceridian or ADP. For analytics, Tableau and Click. For CRM, again, Salesforce and Microsoft, ERP, SAP, and NetSuite. So these are all giants, right? All the things that you see around the Workday, all giants. But again, Workday, just by sitting by itself, it couldn't have done much. So they really had to open up to integration and come out with the better ways to how do other systems come out and integrate with Workday. And they have done a tremendous job. They have opened up their platform in multiple ways. You could use web services, you could use REST APIs, you could use Core Connector, you could also build complex integrations using Workday Studio. Okay, so again, a little graphic of how this whole thing works. So there's a Workday Integration Cloud platform, there's Integration Cloud Connect, and you can also build custom integrations, and you are doing integrations with cloud applications or on-premise applications, benefit providers, payroll providers, or LDAP and Active Directory. So automate the critical functions such as the talent management, payroll, benefits, financial planning, and financial systems. Utilize Workday's real-time API. You can use and the core connector capabilities to ensure data integration is fast, reusable, and easy to manage. So Workday, if you ask Workday people, they really like to advertise their core connectors, excuse me. So they want to say that anything that you want to do, they would highly advocate core connector. And after that, they would talk about use the web services, because core connector is a technology which is native into Workday. The whole integration is built in Workday. You're not going out of the Workday ecosystem. So they always say the Workday's real-time APIs, because anytime anything changes in Workday, you can use the core connector and use the change detection method to get the data out of Workday. So it's very secure for them, offer to everybody. Generic information. So you have web services API. Again, plenty of web services, very, very mature. Everything that you want to do, you have a web service enabled for that. All you need to do is bring in that WSDL into your system and pick up the right operation to perform the operation. You could use the integration tools like EIB and the Workday Integration Studio. The Workday Integration Studio is nothing but an Eclipse-based tool where you have a little drag and drop functionality, but again, it's really extensive in Java programming. So you could use Java skills if you want to do Integration Studio. And then again, you have these third-party application and data sources at the bottom where you use, either you're going to be using the tailored integrations, which the Workday Professional Services is going to build, or user-built integrations, the customer or partners are building them, or you could be using the Workday Integration Network where you have predefined configured integrations. And then third-party applications could be using them by using the EIB or the Integration Studio or the Web Services API. So picking up whichever option works for you, because there are multiple ways to integrate with Workday. Then we talk about a little salary trend of the Workday Integration Consultant salary. The Workday Integration Consultant earns in the range of 90K to 140K. That's an industry trend right now. So top reasons why companies need Workday Integration Consultants. Again, integrate their existing applications to Workday. Everybody has current products that they are working with, and they could be newer products which are SaaS based, they could be older products, they could be legacy applications. So everybody wants to integrate their existing applications to Workday. So that's why we are needed. Workday Integration Consultants are needed to make these integrations happen. Maintain the existing integrations that they have with Workday. So people would have actually implemented the integrations using, let's say they used a partner. They use a Workday partner, let's say Accenture or Deloitte, and they set up this integration with Workday and ADP or Workday and Okta. Now it's an ongoing effort. So they want you to maintain these existing integrations. I understand they are plug and play. Once configured, they should be running fine. But there are always requirements. Things change. It is running with ADP. There is something going on. Some field mappings are needed. Some field mappings are not needed. There's a change in the workflow. So you might need to maintain those existing integrations. Build new integrations around their new SaaS or on-premise applications. So they might have got licensed to new SaaS application. Let's say for example, they want to build an integration with Salesforce or NetSuite or they want to build an integration with an on-premise application. Let's say they want to replicate their data to a database. So that's why we are needed, the integration consultants. Make better business decisions based on contextual insight you get after getting external data into Workday. So not everybody is a data scientist. You can bring as much data as you like into any system, but if you don't know how to make sense out of the data, it's all useless. So everybody talks about data because data is valuable. It's very, very valuable. So you want to bring in data from different systems into Workday. Let's say you want to set up an integration between Workday and Indeed or Workday or Monster, right? You want to get that data in the system. But again, they need people who can really use that data and understand that data, build reports on that data that are gonna give them actionable insight into Workday. Get a full view of talent, labor, and cost with HCM software that's unified with finance and payroll for data that is internal in Workday or from external source. You want to get a full view of everything inside of Workday. How do you do that? You build integrations around it, right? Probably some data originates in Workday, some data comes from external data sources or endpoints. So when you get that data in the system, you got to figure out, how do I show this, right? You have the data that got originated in Workday, and you got data from the other system. How do you combine that? How do you create reports that the people and higher up, the execs, the board, that when they run a report, they should be able to see all of it? That is why Workday integration consultants are needed. All right, enough of me talking for now, and I would open up the platform for question and answer. Anything you guys want to ask?
Your
So again,
tenant access?
Tenant access, yes, it will be provided.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Is it required for any coding background to learn this Workday?
No. But if you are talking about Studio, if you wanted to learn Studio, you would need a coding background. You cannot do Studio without coding background. You need to know Java or .NET.
Okay. In market, only expecting only one module, or different modules they are expecting? If we apply for any job, they require only integration is enough. They require HCM and all those things is also required.
Depending on what your prior background is. If you are an integration consultant, you have been doing integrations before, all they need is integration because you're an integration expert, right? But again, if you are looking for a job, probably this is your first job, so just the integration would not cut it. If you have exposure to any other thing, that will help. So if you knew HCM before integration, that will be more helpful.
Yeah, currently I'm working as an administrator, system administrator. Like I'm working on Apache Tomcat, you know, right? All those things. Yeah, I want to convert into a Workday as my career. That's the reason I'm asking these things.
Sure. No, yeah.
I have 4 years of experience already.
How many?
4 years.
4 years as a system admin on Tomcat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, again, I cannot decide your future for you, but again, my recommendation is if you are diving into integration, see again, integration is something you get into integration after some experience on a lot of different kind of products. So when you're trying to integrate, you need to understand the holistic picture that, okay, this is how SAP works, this is how Salesforce works, this is how NetSuite works, this is how our database works, and this is how the data in all of these things reside. If I want to get this data out, how do I get it? What is the transportation mechanism of this data? How the data internally moves in these systems, right? It's not about coding. That's why I'm a low code advocate as well. I'm not talking about coding here, but you need to understand how these all things work out in a bigger picture. When you get this data out, some systems could be giving you XML, systems could be giving you JSON. Do you understand that? Do you understand how a JSON data is different from an XML data, right?
Yeah.
So if you are comfortable with that, it's all good.
Okay. Why? Because I don't have any coding knowledge. That's the reason I'm asking these questions.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Maybe be like a motivational force to those who are getting into Workday, or those who are just coming in to know more about integration. I just completed HCM with Ricky, he's a terrific somebody.
Thank
That's
you,
the
Martin.
first thing. The second thing is, like Ricky said, Workday has, I think it is gradually invading the IT market, because not only the fact that I'm talking from experience, but I'm also based on my training with Ricky. I think almost on a daily basis, I've been receiving emails, phone calls uh, for job positions as HCM consultant. So it is a very wonderful platform, and I think those who choose Ricky to be their trainer, they are in good hands. Okay,
Thank you, Martin.
like you were saying, like I was saying again, my concern is about the 7 modules which you presented. You didn't mention about Workday Studio. Is that part
Yes.
of integration, or it is something separate from integration?
It is something separate. So again, I understand Workday Studio is again a separate training in itself. So even when you go out to actual Workday trainings and you go to core integration training, which is again 8 days class, Workday Studio is not part of it. And I'll tell you the reason why. So because Workday offers like the integration is offered in 2 ways. First kind of integration is where it's all configuration. You can configure an integration using Core Connector, like we did in HCM, right? You could do a Core Connector, you could call a web service using an iPaaS tool, or you could be using an EIB. So when you can, so these are all configurations. But when you talk about, let's say you scratch these ideas and you say, I want a core developer because I'm doing a complex integration. I don't have an iPaaS platform and I'm going to use Workday Studio. That's when you need a Java developer to actually go and write code into Workday Studio to set up an integration. So that is why Workday itself has created the Workday Studio training, which is completely separate from the Workday core integration training.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why I am like trying to emphasize on Workday Studio is because I think 1 week after the training, after you and I separated on HCM, I received an interview from a company, and the first and their lone concern was, do you have any background on Workday Studio? I said, I am not really versed with that, but I'm ready to learn because Workday has the Workday community where I can easily learn.
Yeah.
Oh, they said, oh yeah, we know about, well, first the company does not know so much about Workday. So the only thing which they had to do was, they told me that they will be working basically with Workday Studio, and the fact that I'm not very versed with that, I could not continue to the next phase of the interview.
Yep, I hear you. I understand.
Yeah, so I thought like, okay, no problem. Maybe this could be, but I don't regret attending any course which you are offering, Ricky.
Sure, Martin. Thank you.
Sure.
But again, like you brought it up, so I'll clarify it one more time. So let's say you go to an interview where they say, you know what, you don't know Workday Studio, and again, we all know that this community. If you get access, but again, you can go to community. You can learn from community what to do, how to get to Studio, how do you start setting up an integration, but nobody can teach you programming that you should have known for past 10 years, right?
Yes,
Because you're not a Java developer, you don't know the coding basics. Let's say, for example, I was looking at something and said, somebody says, if you don't know C or C++, you would know what a constructor is. And people when you're developing something, those are all developers. And you might feel a setback when you're at a point, you're in a job trying to develop integration using Workday Studio, because you said in the interview that, yeah, I could learn, but again, nobody can teach you programming, right? So you should have learned it 10 years ago. So again, it's a give and take. So where do you want to go into the configuration side of things? Then you do the core integration where you learn the core connector and this and that and web services and EIBs. If you are a developer and your core expertise is coding, you should certainly, anybody who's on this call, and if you're a core developer, your expertise is coding, you should certainly look into Workday Studio.
Okay.
But again,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here, Martin. Sure, thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Ricky. This is Ram here. Quick question on the same topic of the studio. So, is it possible to give at least maybe half an hour, one session on studio?
Why not? Sure.
Before the yeah, that makes it at least
Absolutely.
comfortable. Yeah.
Oh yeah, why not? So again, I have Studio set up. I can show you Workday Studio. I can also show you a sample integration. How do you connect and all that? But again, I do not want to mislead you, telling you that, hey guys, I am going to teach you Workday Studio. But I can certainly show you Workday Studio. Like
Great.
I can spend an hour on that. Yeah, sure.
So when during our integration sessions for the enrolled students, so what are the different integration that we are going to have? For example, I'm a ETL developer and I work on integrating with, when I work on one of the Salesforce project, we integrate with Salesforce and some of the other LMS kind of third-party training program that we have. And we integrate with ADP and other stuff in our application. Basically, I'm an ETL part, so I integrate most of this Workday with other applications. We get the data from Workday and we distribute to so many other applications. So upstream and downstream goes on for us. So in our practices, in our sessions, so what are the integrations that we're going to talk about?
So again, because of the fact that this is a generic training, we can talk about Salesforce, but I don't want to pick up a technology. So most of these things that we will talk about, the integration is Salesforce. I have not decided yet, but again, Salesforce could be one of those things, but most of the time it's generic in nature. So we will be using flat files and FTP servers.
Okay. Could you select one cloud and one non-cloud, maybe one database and one Salesforce, something like that? So that,
yeah, sure, we can do that. Yeah,
yeah,
we can set that up.
Great.
Yeah, Salesforce is easy to get, and again, same thing. See, again, Salesforce, you can all apply for your own tenant, and you can go from there. But again, I'll tell you the reason why I did not do this, because again, people who are not from the ETL background or not from the integration space, for them, learning Workday itself is like a tool. And to introduce them to another tool, let's say, for example, Salesforce or NetSuite or Oracle, it becomes a challenge. So that's why any training you would go to, and I'm talking about the Workday training, if you go to Workday, the integration training that Workday provides, they only deal with flat files and FTP server. But again, just for the fun sakes, I can certainly introduce Salesforce.
Yeah, whatever that is comfortable for you, either Salesforce is because object sharing between those two. So
yeah, I understand. So let's say there's an account in Salesforce integrating with workers in Workday. Yeah,
maybe cases are one of them, they can take it, or ServiceNow, whatever that you want comfortable. For security, you can use ServiceNow, whatever that you want. But one cloud and one non-cloud is great.
Yep. Yeah. No, I understand. I'm pretty sure I will have a very diverse and very technical crowd for this one. So we will, I would say, we will adapt as we go, right? So that's how we will keep it. Sure.
So one last question, like when you are choosing the student for these sessions, not only this one, but usually for any session. So do you select the people like with basic knowledge of HCM and with some knowledge
no,
on
man,
integration?
No. We don't select anybody. We would encourage, if it's up to us, it's like, hey, you know what? You don't know anything, just come and join us. But again, what I would like you to do is I would like you to come to the session. And again, I understand, let's say you have the knowledge, so you should certainly join. But again, if you don't have the knowledge, you really are testing the waters that should I get into this class? Should I not get into the class? You're more than welcome to join a session, see if it's working out for you, and then you decide after a session, right? So we don't decide that you should or should you not. You learn for yourself. You would understand in a day or two if it's working out for you or not.
No, I'm not asking to people not to join, but we can have the separate sessions, like maybe fundamental, so that crowd will enjoy the session. Like for example,
that's exactly why, like I mentioned, let's say, for example, you don't understand Workday. If you don't understand Workday, let's say you're trying to get into integration, but you don't understand the core concept of how Workday works. So that could be a challenging situation. So I would say, that's why I was saying, if you have no idea about Workday, go to the HCM class first and then come back to Workday integration. Okay. And that is how even Workday sets us up. So let's say you want to get Workday certified. If you want to get Workday certified, you need 2 certifications before you get into. So before you do integration, you have to go to a HCM or a financials class. You just cannot go to a Workday integration class without completing an HCM or a financial course first. So that's how they have designed it. Sure, guys. Yeah, that's a great $1 million question. Actually, that's why everybody is here on this call. How do you land a job? So I think everybody comes back and says, you know what, are you guys going to provide some help with resumes? Are you going to get some placement assistance? So I'll tell you one thing very upfront, that we do not help you cook up resumes. We're not going to help you write fake resumes. Workday is a very, very small community. Everybody knows everybody. The projects that you, let's say you look at a resume, somebody has done a project, and then you go and you find out and you say, you know what, I'm going to copy this project, put in my resume. If you do that, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught very, very soon before you would even know. And because it's a very small community. If you start searching for help, you would figure that the Workday community, the only help is on community.workday.com. It's a closed group and everybody knows everybody in that group. So what we can do is we can provide you sample resumes. We can show you that, hey guys, look at these resumes. This is how your resume should look like. This is what people put in their resumes. This is the kind of technologies people are putting in, that they're talking about business processes or report as a service or core connectors. This is how what your resume should look like. And you would know this by the time your training ends, because we will be covering those modules, right? The other thing is, you would not find many jobs by applying your resumes. What you would see most of the jobs are, go back to LinkedIn. If you have a profile, update your profile with whatever you learned in our Workday training. Update those things in your LinkedIn profile and you will see a drastic change in the number of calls you get for your Workday related skill set. So your best friend would be going back to LinkedIn, updating a profile, creating a profile, and mentioning Workday over there, rather than trying to cook up a fake resume, trying to convert your old experience into Workday experience. I don't think that is going to work at all. So, and again, there are places. So the other question that I'm going to get after this is, you know what, because of the fact Zarantech is not providing Workday certification, do you think if this training is of any help? And I'll tell you why it is helpful. If you go to a Workday training, there is a high percentage you're going to fail that training, that certification. I've been into 2 trainings and I know people fail in those certifications because that training is not easy. It's not easy to clear that certification and training. There are objective type questions, and then there is a practical setup that you have to do in HCM. In integration, you have to solve 2 real world scenarios. So, and that in addition to the 60 or 70 questions, the passing percentage is 85%. So a lot of the people don't make it. What we are providing you is we are providing you a training curriculum. I would not say exactly same, very equivalent to what Workday provides, along with the same, not saying same, but similar material that Workday provides in its training. So when you get to the actual training, let's say you get hired by a Workday partner or a Workday itself to work on a project, so they will send you through Workday training. You have higher chances of getting certified rather than getting fail in that certification. That certification, again, that's a loss for your company because they pay $4,000 to $5,000 each seat when they send you to that place to get certified. Okay, so these are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. Anybody who says that, you know what, our organization gets you into a Workday certification, it's all crap. It's not true. Nobody can get you a Workday certification, but Workday and Workday partners can send you to that class. And as long as job goes, update your skills on LinkedIn. Look for jobs on places like upwork.com and freelancer.com, and you will see and get an idea what kind of profiles are there, what kind of jobs are there. You can apply for those positions, because not everybody is hiring certified people. Because if somebody is certified, they would not be looking jobs over there. They would already be working with a Workday partner or Workday itself. So that's the thing around Workday jobs. Did I cover everything? Or you guys have a question, please feel free to ask. Sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.